Today, it's movie recap time for Premature, a fantasy comedy movie released in 2014. The movie begins with a high school student named Rob Crab having an intense dream. He wakes up with his mom opening the door to his room, creating an extremely uncomfortable situation. She sees all the mess down there and awkwardly tells him to throw the sheets in the laundry. Following his shower, Rob gets himself prepared for school. Since he's got a conversation scheduled with a Georgetown University interviewer, it's an important day for him. His father, Jim, is an alumnus of the same institution, which only adds to the pressure. Jim is actually desperate for his son to get into Georgetown. On his way to school, Rob passes by his best friend Stanley's place. Stanley is a nerd as well, but somehow he got lucky enough that a pretty girl chose him as a practice buddy for college. So, they have regular encounters. At school, Rob and Stanley meet with their friend Gabrielle, whom Rob has known since he was a little kid. Their extremely nerdy buddy, Arthur, is also there. It's quite evident that Gabrielle has a crush on Rob, and she invites the boy to hang out at her place later that day. The duo has a quirky annual tradition of sipping on beer while watching the thrilling spectacle of the spelling bee. Rob agrees to join her, but his focus is soon stolen by his crush, Angela. Out of the blue, a group of volleyball players appear and drench his pants with a toy water gun. However, his pants aren't wet from the water. It turns out that the bullies relieve themselves inside the water gun. Since Rob's interview is scheduled to happen in just an hour, Gabrielle suggests that he could scrounge up a new pair of pants from the lost and found section. But Rob decides to make do with his own gym shorts. Soon after, while the two friends are in the library preparing for Rob's interview, Angela surprisingly approaches them. She asks for Rob's help with her upcoming test, saying her place is available that evening for them to study. Even though Rob is taken aback by the invitation, his loyalty to Gabrielle makes him decline her offer, explaining that he already has other plans. Later in class, Stanley reproaches Rob for passing up what he considers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with one of the hottest girls in school. He advises Rob to cancel his plans with Gabrielle and go to Angela's place instead. Later, Rob is summoned by a random kid, and Gabrielle walks him to his interview, giving him a sort of pep talk. Rob then greets Jack Roth, the interviewer, and promptly apologizes for his gym shorts. He explains the earlier bullying, and Jack understands it, dismissing it as a non-issue. As the interview goes on, Jack asks about his motivations for choosing Georgetown University. Instead of giving him academic reasons, Rob says both of his parents went to Georgetown and met each other there. To Rob's surprise, the revelation immediately makes Jack cry. Since he met his late wife at Georgetown, the connection makes him think of her. To Rob's misfortune, Jack can't control his emotions, and the rest of the interview goes pretty much like that. As Stanley waits for his friend and promptly asks how it went, Rob expresses feelings of failure. Stanley empathizes with Rob and suggests that he should spend some high-quality time with Angela to lift his spirits. Rob listens to him and decides to cancel his spelling bee plans. The boy tells Gabrielle that he feels bummed out due to the earlier interview. Full of expectations, Rob heads to Angela's house. On the way there, a car throws him on the ground, but he doesn't get hurt. Finally arriving at Angela's home, she guides him straight to her bedroom and invites him to sit on her bed. When she sits next to him and touches him lightly, Rob reacts in a weird way and jerks, spilling wine on Angela's top. To the boy's dismay, she changes right in front of him and chooses a random shirt. She then sits beside him again, saying how badly she needs his tutoring. Angela then goes into full-on offense mode and kisses Rob. As she places her hand in a strategic position, Rob can't take it and finishes it off. All of a sudden, Rob sees himself in his bed, with a mess down there once again. Just like it happened earlier that day, his mom walks in and awkwardly says he should put the bed sheets in the laundry. Confused, Rob does not understand what happened and thinks he may have dreamed about the previous events. Just as he gets ready for school, Jim gives him a speech about the importance of the day's interview, just like last time. Rob then proceeds to school, where he finds himself experiencing a bizarre sense of déjà vu. The events unfolding around him are exactly like the ones from his alleged dream. The volleyball dude still managed to wet his pants, which makes him put on his gym shorts. As Stanley helps him in the library, Rob talks about the dream with Angela, saying she wanted him. Seconds later, Angela herself appears, asking Rob for an emergency tutoring session. Rob readily agrees, and Stanley can't believe what he is witnessing. During the admission interview, Jack still can't control his emotions, and it goes pretty much like the last time. Later on, he visits the school clinic in search of a remedy for his premature situation. As Rob witnesses an unsettling scene involving the school nurse and a student violently puking, he deems it best to just leave. As Rob heads to Angela's place, he realizes that he never let Gabrielle know he wouldn't be able to make it that night. He decides to be a jerk and ignore it, and the same car hits him again. Later on, Angela kisses him in her room, and you guys can guess Rob's reaction. Just then, Rob's mother walks in on him again, in the same awkward setting. For the second time, things play out the same from the start of the day. Rob has no idea what's going on and feels very confused about the whole thing. The story transitions to Stanley's place, where he's talking with Lisa, his girlfriend. Stanley is upset that she won't acknowledge him as her boyfriend in public. Lisa simply tells him that she is using him as practice for college and doesn't want to be seen with an uncool dude like him. All of a sudden, Rob bursts into the room, eager to share what's been happening with him. As Lisa is about to leave, she works her weird magic on the boys, telling them they can finish. And yes, they do. As the day resets once more, Rob wakes up in a hurry and dashes to school. This time, he attempts to find Gabrielle to see if she has any insights about his issue. Predictably, the volleyball players appear and soak him with the water gun. However, this time Rob snaps, and he obliterates the toy. The bullies become really angry and run after Rob through the school halls. Rob hides in a random room, but the boys find him. To his luck, the door jams and they can't open it, so Rob takes the opportunity to do, you know what, and reset the day. As usual, Rob's mom opens the door to his room. This time, the boy simply feels relieved to have escaped the bullies. Just as Jim prepares to give him the Georgetown pep talk, Rob interrupts him. He talks about possibly going down a different path and explains that he doesn't really care about Georgetown. At school, Stanley keeps talking about girls and getting physical with them. However, Rob seems to have undergone a transformation. He says there's more to life than girls and talks about living a life without repercussions. Soon after, he steals a golf cart and drives it through the school's corridors. Later, he shares a special cigarette with Gabrielle on the school bus, and they discuss their long friendship. They hug, and Rob promises Gabrielle that they'll uphold their tradition of watching the spelling bee every year. Soon after, he moves on to his interview, in which he helps Jack through the pain of losing his wife. Rob then invades one of Ms. Hartnett's classes and approaches her. Crossing another item from his crazy doing list, he uses his hands in a way that he really shouldn't. At lunch, Rob sits in front of Sally, his childhood bully. Continuing his recklessness spree, he decides to punish her for all the past bullying, but the girl fights back and beats him up. After being sent to the principal's office, he is told that the police are on their way after what he did to his teacher. Rob freaks out and runs away from there, trying to find a place to reset the day. He finds Stanley and tries to explain it all to him, but his friend obviously thinks that he's delusional. He helps Rob anyway, leading him to the girls' locker room. There, Rob does his best to concentrate, but the fact that Stanley won't be silent prevents him from finishing. Just as he decides to turn himself in, Sally finds him and kicks him in the groin, which somehow makes him finish and resets the day. Rob starts the day in the usual way and heads to school. Growing tired of the same events, the boy is in a bad mood. When Gabrielle reminds him of their spelling bee encounter, he indelicately cancels it right away. Stanley tries to lift his spirits after seeing his grumpiness, and Rob is surprised to see he has feelings. As they hug each other, Angela pops up and extends the usual invitation to her place, which Rob readily accepts.
Come over around 7.
As Rob gets summoned for the interview, he notices that, for the first time, Gabrielle is not there to walk him to the meeting. Her absence adds to his bad mood during the interview. Jack notices Rob's sadness and lets him know that he embodies the qualities that Georgetown seeks. Rob realizes that he misses Gabrielle and decides to visit her. At her place, the duo talks, and the girl is skeptical about his story. However, she decides to keep an open mind. If he really is telling the truth, she tells him to bring up her fantasy with Abraham Lincoln the next time they see each other.
It was unforgettable.
As their next move, they go to Arthur's place in the hopes that he will know what's going on with Rob. After Arthur boasts about being super smart, their visit takes an unexpected turn when the kid's grandmother accuses Rob of being a Jadugar, whatever that means, and launches an attack on him. Amidst the chaos, Arthur's mother and Gabrielle intervene, shielding Rob from harm. Unfortunately, the situation creates some intense friction that triggers Rob's unique condition, resetting the day. In his next attempt, Rob goes to school and immediately confronts Arthur, demanding that he tell him what the term Jadugar means. Since Arthur initially brushes him off, Rob follows him to a bathroom and forces Arthur to reveal it to him. Eventually, Arthur tells him that it means that Rob is cursed. However, Arthur claims to have no idea how Rob can get rid of it. Soon after, Rob straight away tells Gabrielle and Stanley about the time loop he's trapped in. To prove he's not lying, he tells Gabrielle about her Abraham Lincoln fantasy, which really surprises her. After convincing them he's telling the truth, they begin to brainstorm a solution. Stanley proposes the theory that Rob may have been cursed due to a mistake he made and suggests that he needs to make it right to break the curse. Out of options, Rob accepts the theory and soon thinks of Angela. He realizes he never gave the girl a good time, and he intends to do it right this time. He goes to her classroom and interrupts the teacher, offering to tutor Angela that evening. The girl says yes, and Gabrielle gets disappointed. Just before Rob goes to Angela's place, Stanley does his best to teach him how to handle it in bed. Apparently they have some effect because Rob seems better at controlling himself. As they make out, Angela tells him they can have fun every time Rob is supposed to tutor her. The only detail is that he needs to do all of her homework for her afterwards. As he processes that, Rob realizes that Angela only wants to use him. Still thinking about Stanley's theory, Rob realizes that the person he needs to fix things with is actually Gabrielle. As he gets out of there, he sees his dad waiting for him. Having found out that Rob blew off the interview, Jim refuses to let his son ruin his future. So, he drives Rob to the hotel where Jack is staying. They find Jack in the restaurant, drinking whiskey. As they sit to talk, the man asks Jim why he is insistent on sending his son to Georgetown. Jim shares his positive experiences from the university, saying they shaped his life. Jack then offers a different perspective, suggesting that Rob might not have the same desires and goals that his father had. As they send Rob to get more drinks, he glances at the TV and sees the spelling bee finale. Suddenly, it hits him that he has genuine feelings for Gabrielle, and perhaps his failure to act on them is the reason behind the never-ending day. Rob returns to the table and shares that he needs to see Gabrielle right away. As for Georgetown, he'll decide later. Jim is disappointed but ultimately agrees to support Rob's decision. Soon after, Jim and Jack drive Rob to Gabrielle's house and help him sneak into her room through the window. Once inside her room, Rob confesses everything to Gabrielle, including the fact that he didn't get physical with Angela. Nevertheless, she is still upset with him and tells him to get out of there. Rob says he can't leave until she understands his feelings for her, so Gabrielle removes some of her clothes to make him finish and reset the day. All the action quickly grabs the attention of her father, who rushes to see what's happening. To break the awkwardness, Rob explains to her father that his intentions are genuine. He says he's not trying to take advantage of Gabrielle and that it took him too long to realize how much he likes her. Feeling guilty about the whole thing, Rob decides to leave through the window. After he finds trouble getting down, Gabrielle stops him from leaving and helps Rob inside again. The duo sits together and watches the spelling bee. Things heat up and they get physical, but this time does not reset. In the last scene, Rob realizes the loop is finally broken, and they decide to go for round 2. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe.